Welcome everyone to What the Force, and this is our Monday episode, which is going to take the first half of celebration and really share out the things that we've been doing at the site and all over the place. I'm really excited to share some of the interesting people we've been meeting and the different conversations we've been having. Also, we have a deep dive and a fun reaction podcast with Natasha Fox, who we met up with right after the episode 9 panel. And we talk about the panel, what we saw while we were in the Twin Suns room, and how we felt about the whole thing. I hope you enjoy the show. It's Ty and Marie Claire here. Hello, Ty.
Hello, Marie Claire.
We are actually recording, and I'm just testing out the microphone. We arrived. We are safe. Some flights have been canceled on the way to Chicago, which is a little crazy. So hopefully everybody arrives here okay. We're about to head out to go have some dinner with some friends and then figure out how we're going to tackle celebration.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. What are you looking forward to the most, Ty, since we know nothing?
Ooh, the Raylo meetup. Or meeting other people, like, who I know online. Yeah. In general.
Like putting faces to names?
Yep, pretty much. Meeting the friends that you have online for the first time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And, of course, seeing the episode 9 trailer. I'm really looking forward to The Mandalorian, Clone Wars. There's a myth panel, which looked really cool. Yeah. So I think we'll probably record maybe a little check-in every day, and then we'll do a compilation at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
I want to see if any Raylo drama ensues at anywhere at any time. I'm ready.
So I was actually thinking, since we got into the Phantom Menace panel, that we should start a chant of Kora Ratama from the Duel of the Fates when Darth Maul comes on stage.
That's not a Raylo chant.
No, but like it's cool for the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, no, that's actually pretty awesome. I wonder how many people are gonna know the other version of like the funny English words. There's like, you know, the funny version where it's like popcorn.
No,
I
don't.
Coconuts.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't. Oh, okay. I have to look this up now.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about, Ty?
How do you not know about this? Like,
I don't know. I think about the Force a lot.
I'll find it. This has nothing to do with the Force. Nothing at all to do with the Force.
Are you sure? It's just goofy. I like goofy fan stuff too.
It's just goofy.
That's cool.
Okay. Find it.
So it's still Wednesday, getting later on in the day, and we have met up and decided to do nothing but rest because we're tired. Yeah, that's okay. And we're meeting some people for dinner. We might grab my badge from Will Call, so we'll figure that one out.
Yep. It's a really cool hotel. And I think it's supposed to be haunted, but I haven't read the stories about it yet because I'm scared.
It was also owned by Al Capone.
No way! That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm very impressed.
I'm very impressed too. I really like the architecture and the style, and it does kind of have in some locations the old hotel smell, which could be disconcerting to some people, but I find it charming.
Yeah. We were saying it has its own character, and we like places with character, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the fact that it's kind of weird is totally jiving with Ty and I. And also the hotel that we recorded in last time when we got together was also haunted. I heard after the fact.
Yeah, it was haunted. It didn't have like a plaque or something. It had like a plaque and told us like the story of it. I totally forgot about that. So the only places we've been to together are haunted places.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
What else is going on? We saw some videos of the mural. Hopefully we get to check that out tonight.
Yeah. It looks awesome. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I think it looks really good.
And there's like a space for episode 9 that they haven't like filled in yet, apparently.
It's because Kylo and Rey are kissing in it.
Or something. Oh my god, I thought about the coolest thing today. It's like, what if like Rey is talking to Maz and she's like, so we need him. He's the key to all of this. And then Maz responds, you both are.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
I've been thinking about this stuff a lot lately.
Did you listen to my Frank Lehman episode?
Yeah. With the light motifs?
Yeah, and like talking about skywalking.
Yeah. I love the whole skywalking like theory and everything behind it.
Like, I think a lot of people have already talked about this. Maybe not a lot of people, but some people out there have thought of this because of the Thrawn Alliance's book and him mentioning what skywalking is, and that it was ironic that Anakin was named Skywalker. And I know the Porg's Nest on Twitter had an amazing Tumblr breakdown of what she thinks is going to happen in 9 to do with skywalking.
Oh, I haven't seen that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I found James in the lineup for picking up merch. Hello, James.
Oh God, so tired. It's been a long week.
So how far and long did you drive to get to Chicago?
Drove from Calgary to Chicago in one shot, 29 hours, door to door. Fortunately, because of the timing, we figured it would have been worse hitting some of the cities during rush hour. But the universe decided to be kind and let us get here in the middle of oh God o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I got some messages and pictures of you guys just arriving, and it was like early morning. You were at like Union Station.
Oh, that was after
checking
breakfast.
It out.
That was after breakfast. We'd already been. We hit Chicago at about 5 o'clock local time. So we're up. We decided we were going to go. My friend Kara couldn't get checked into the hotel, so my hotel wasn't under my name for the first night. So I'm like, all right, what are we going to do? Let's figure out where places are to get there. Okay, that's an hour killed. What are we going to do now? We need food. So we found this little restaurant. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's that place where between about 6 and 7 in the morning, about 15 people came in and 8 of them said, I'll have my usual. So it was good food.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then we were walking back. From the restaurant, and all of a sudden I looked over like, Union Station? Oh yeah, we're in Chicago, right? Oh, there it is. Well, we got time to kill. Let's go see. Oh my God. It was a moment. So you see some scenes from The Untouchables, and you're like, all of a sudden you're there.
Yeah, the hotel I'm staying at used to be owned by Al Capone, so there's a lot of history here.
You're welcome for that recommendation.
Yeah, it's cheap, potentially haunted. That's what we hear.
I'm just at the convention center, so.
Yeah, you were smart. It's walking distance. You can pass out in your room if you want to.
That's the plan.
And you are revealing tomorrow your amazing kit that you just built.
Yeah, I've got 3 costumes in one. I'm doing the entire Inferno Squadron this weekend. I have got Del Meeko, Iden Versio, and Gideon Hask. All 3 costumes are going to be them for the weekend.
That's so awesome. I'm excited to see them, and I'll take lots of pictures. Thanks, James. Hello, everyone. We are on day 2, and we just had some breakfast and ran to Trader Joe's. We're kind of taking it easy this morning on the Thursday because we have the sort of show floor to deal with this morning or this afternoon, and then Ty and I and a bunch of people we know are going to the multi-club Star Wars Bash that's happening at the Museum of Industry, I think.
Is it science?
Science? I'll confirm that, but because I don't want to show up at the wrong place. but it's the night at Canto Bight. So some people are going to be cosplaying as like Canto Bight characters. Some people are kind of making their own. It's going to be really cool. I'm really, really excited about it. Ty, what are you looking forward to today?
Well, we have the Raylo meetup, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to seeing if I can find Star Wars socks at the exhibit hall and a few other things like Star Wars stuff. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. I hope they have the floor open where they have like all the replicas and stuff. They have like a BB-8 car that I saw last night, and they have like I think it's like a huge TIE fighter or something.
I think the exhibitors hall will be open, so that'll be pretty cool. Did you want to tell the story of running into Dominic last night?
Yeah, so we were all looking at the gigantic banner that they have, which is all of the Star Wars from in chronological order, from the prequels all the way to the sequels, and of course they had the last panel covered for 9. And we're all looking at it, and there is like everyone listening to this probably knows this by now because I tweeted about it, and Thrawn looks like Pierce Brosnan. Like it looks like Pierce Brosnan playing Thrawn. So I was standing there looking at it. Marie Claire was in the merch line and downstairs, and then this guy like shows up next to me, and he's like, doesn't Thrawn look like? And then we kind of both looked at each other, and we both said Pierce Brosnan like at the same time. And there's a bunch of other people around. Everybody was laughing about it. Everyone thought the same thing. So we just started striking up conversation about like what we think the last panel is going to look like and what we think about the sequels. And he was really into them. And we were both kind of talking around Raylo. Like we were both kind of sidestepping it because you don't want to mention that right off the bat, I think, with some male fans or like any fans. And eventually I said that we were talking about Campbell, and eventually I said something like, yeah, I had to do a lot of this. I had to read a lot of it for like the podcast I'm on. And he goes, oh, wait, what podcast? He was like, totally recognized, right? He put 2 and 2 together. And I said, What the Force? And he was like, oh my God, with Marie Claire. and he goes, oh, you're Ty. And he was like, I knew your voice was familiar. And that was really weird because he recognized my voice. But yeah, like he's been listening to podcasts. He's from Slovakia. He came here by himself. This is his first celebration. This is his first time being in the U.S. So that was crazy. And he's like this huge fan of Marie Claire, of the show, of Scavenger's Hoard,
Meta Machina.
Meta Machina. Yeah, he listens to Nat and Shy, and he's been reading metas. Like I think that's where he started with the whole Raylo community, and then they told he and another one of the fans told us about skyforum.net or something like that.
Raylo skyforum.net, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so that's another Raylo forum community that he's a part of, and yeah, it's just really interesting. He's a very positive fan, and luckily that was the first fan at this convention that I met, that I talked to, and it just happened to be somebody who knew us. How crazy is that?
And now you're going to talk to everyone about Raylo, I think.
Yeah. Now I feel a bit more confident. I think it was hard, in the beginning because you're like, I don't know what I should say to these male fans or even female fans. I don't know how to say to any fans. And the fact that he was the first one was like, oh, wait, there are people out there that are a part of like our group online and stuff. We just haven't met them. We haven't really gotten face to face with them. Getting face to face with them makes you feel a lot more confident about where you're coming from.
You're not alone.
Neither are you.
Exactly. Hello, I'm with Renee, and we are waiting in the line to enter Star Wars Celebration on Thursday. Renee, why are you here?
I want to meet other people that have the same interests, and there's some really cool panels, and I want to be in the room when people see episode 9, the teaser, so yeah.
That's awesome. And you actually are part of, I guess, what would be considered the Raylo community, like myself, and you're not really part of Twitter. You're not really super active on Twitter, but you are part of a forum. What forum is that?
It's called the Sky Forum, and it's kind of a splinter off of the Jedi Council forums. That there was kind of upheaval there with talking about Reylo, and so people kind of formed their own community, and it seemed really like a welcoming place, so I decided to join it.
And we, like Ty and I, both have had really good experiences with the information posted on that forum. So they've had some really good meta threads and good information shared.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one I always share that's called George Lucas, was he the original Reylo? And it had some really cool information on there that I always like to share with people.
So what have you seen so far that has been super interesting?
In terms of the forum or
At Celebration.
at Celebration?
It's just now getting started.
Well, yeah, I guess I haven't seen anything yet, but just like the different things people are wearing, it's like, you know, their own expression of what they think is cool about Star Wars. So, you know, everyone has their own little outfit, or, you know, I guess we'll see the full picture in there with the cosplay and stuff, but
Yeah, it's super interesting. And the line is, we're about 3/4 of the way through the quote unquote heated white tents, which do not feel heated at all. Just blocking the wind. Also with me is Dominic, who came all the way from Slovakia. Hi, Dominic.
Hi.
What are you looking forward to?
Episode 9, Mandalorian, Clone Wars, Resistance, everything, fellow fans, Reylo community.
We're all going to the Reylo meetup later today, which is kind of why we're all hanging out, which is fun. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like how many Reylos come out, how excited and pumped they are, all of that. Yeah. Anything to add? No? Okay. We will continue to wait. Hello, and we are on the exhibition floor on Thursday, and with me today is
Sammy.
and
Hayden.
Hayden, and they are dressed as Leia and Kylo, and Leia is a ballerina Leia that looks amazing, and she actually went on points, which was beautiful, and Kylo is a really kind of a slacker who hangs out at Walmart, I think.
That works.
Maybe. And I love the Ray pin. It's so good. So what inspired you to do ballerina Leia?
Well, I'm a ballet dancer, so I really wanted to show that in my costume, and I've always wanted a pancake tutu, and so this was an excuse to get one.
That's what it's called, a pancake tutu?
Yeah, because it's completely flat.
It's very beautiful. I love your hair too. It's great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be different, I guess. I wanted to do Kylo Ren, but I didn't want to just do the typical Kylo Ren. So I just went around to different stores and thought, what would Kylo Ren wear if he was shopping here?
It's like a modern alternative universe Kylo Ren.
Yeah, pretty much.
You look great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Hello, and we're still on the exhibition floor for, I'll step back for a second, as people are taking photos of this amazing cosplay. We have a Shakespearean version of Kylo Ren. Sorry, what's your name?
It's France.
Hi, Franz. So what inspired you to do this Kylo Ren?
Actually, it started out with my daughter and I playing with ideas, and it kind of progressed from a emo stormtrooper, and then I started doing a mix of Shakespearean and stormtrooper, and so Shakespearean stormtrooper and so forth. And then one day at one of the cons, I saw a skull, grabbed the skull as I was taking pictures, and then it progressed from the last celebration from a Shakespearean stormtrooper to now a Shakespearean Ren, with Darth Vader's melted head as my poor Yorick.
That's so good. It looks like it's been iterated over time, and it's turned out so well.
Thank you, thank you. I enjoy it. I love the intention. It only if I had the mask on, though.
Fair. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm actually at the Star Wars Insider official Titan Publishing booth, and I'm with...
Chris Thompson, the brand manager for Titan Publishing and Star Wars Insider.
And you have a couple of exclusive magazine covers for Star Wars Insider for Celebration. Do you want to talk about them?
Yeah, so we've got an early release here for issue 189, which isn't in shops yet. And we've done 2 covers for it, one light side, one dark side. But to make it interesting, they're connecting covers. So we went to artist Karen Hallion, who did the Women of Star Wars, isn't it?
Women of the Galaxy?
Women of the Galaxy, there we go. I knew you would know. And got her to do connecting covers with Rey and Kylo Ren. And they've come out beautifully. And so the magazine's debuting here at the show, and you can only get those covers here.
The art is beautiful. Is there anything upcoming for Star Wars Insider that people should be aware of?
There always is, but because of embargoes and not giving anything away, I can never tell anyone about it. So it's just kind of like, we have great stuff that's coming. It's going to continue for a long time to come. But all I can do is kind of plug all the great stuff we've got at the moment, simply because I can't tell you or confirm whether we're doing X, Y, or Z in the future. But we probably are.
It's part of the gig.
It is, yeah. But we are very excited about the magazine. We're also doing a panel here on the Monday, Inside Star Wars Insider. So we're actually, instead of, because we can't talk about what's coming up in the future, it's a little bit more looking at who actually works on the magazine, what it's like doing the research to contribute to the magazine, and really getting a glimpse into, the fans behind it all.
Yeah, that's great. I love how you can find out how things happen, not just what happens. To me, that's the super fascinating thing about it, and how many fans really do contribute to fans and like fan creations and fan culture.
Exactly. I mean, there's one guy here, and I think he's got his own panel as well. He's contributed an article about sort of some of the locations and stuff that we used in the past because he went and visited them. And so, he's going to do a 1-hour panel. He's hopefully going to join us for ours, and actually getting to talk to these people. Essentially, yeah, it's just what they love doing, and it's kind of nice because if you want to just see a list of what's coming up, you can read that on the internet anywhere or try and, find glimpses on Amazon or whatever. But when it comes to actually hearing from the people that write, it's a special kind of moment. I think that's something that, Celebration allows for.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. And long live Star Wars Insider.
It's Friday morning.
Yes.
We have overflow tickets for the Twin Suns Theater for episode 9. And with me today is...
Hello, I'm Rachel. I'm from Scavengers Horde. I'm in Chicago. Woo! Sorry, I know this sounds really ironic. I'm not very good at... Yeah, sorry, you go, Kirsty.
And then we also have...
Kirsty. Hi, everyone. Very excited, getting caffeinated, getting ready to stand in that line for a couple of hours and finally see some official 9 content.
Yeah, and I promise I am actually excited. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound so sarcastic. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and one of you mentioned it was going to be potentially controversial, or at least that's what Peter Sciretta said. Sciretta?
Yeah.
Peter Sciretta said off of Slash Film, and honestly, controversy is like my favorite thing. So
I want to see drama in the llama. Yeah, sorry.
I think anything that is considered controversial after The Last Jedi and the kind of responses across the fandom to that is going to be very interesting, because knowing JJ, he's going to want to one-up Ryan in some way. So it'll be very interesting to see how that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of people expect J.J. Abrams to do a very safe film after The Last Jedi and almost want that, like, return to the more, like, familiar mode of The Force Awakens. So yeah, serious respect to the dude if he does not. And I don't think he will, to be honest. I trust JJ, but vive le soleil. So
yeah, I actually don't think that he's going to do safe choices. He didn't do safe choices when he took on Star Trek. He actually did kind of controversial choices. And I very much trust JJ is a hopeless romantic. So...
He is very romantic if you look at his filmography and Felicity and all this kind of thing. And if people maybe go back to The Force Awakens and watch that with hindsight of the developments and the dynamics that were there in The Last Jedi, you can see that that was what he established, and that was what got people so excited about it, because there was some risky stuff being established there, but maybe not everyone picked up on it.
I just recently watched it with my mom for the first time, and her response was, wow, that bridal carry scene was sure romantic, even though he's so terrible.
That just about sums it up, yeah. He's being terrible.
Huh.
I agree with that. It's accurate, very accurate. Sorry, I'm still a little bit out of sorts, but it's going to be good.
Yep. We're meeting up with a few more people that are also in the same Overflow theater as us. And then we will come back and probably do some sort of reaction.
There wouldn't be anything coherent. And we're going to go and watch Sky Talkers record their podcast right after us on the podcast stage right next to Twin Suns. So that's very convenient for everyone. And I'm just interested to see how they're going to record that with like a modicum of decorum, because we're all going to be so excited, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, always great to support Caitlin and Charlotte in their podcast too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to going to Sky Talkers, and I really hope they get a chance to see the trailer and everything beforehand, because obviously they're going to be so busy setting up for their thing. So
I think they'll make time for that.
Yeah, they'll make it happen. Yeah, it's a bit crazy. Yeah, but no, it's going to be fantastic. Cool.
Thank you. So we just got out of the Sky Talkers podcast panel, which was just after the episode 9 trailer dropped, which is The Rise of Skywalker as a name, which is crazy. And today I am with Alex, who has been on the podcast before. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Delaney.
Hey.
Megan.
Hi.
And how did you guys feel?
A lot of feelings. When I saw Kylo, I fell to the floor and freaked out. Like, he's getting redeemed, 100%.
Delaney?
I honestly, that move where Rey just launches herself into the air had me speechless. The no one's ever really gone had me crying. Alex and I clung to each other crying. The shot of Leia, emotional for me. Bendemption's happening. I'm just speechless.
What? And Megan?
Yeah, I'm shook. I'm shook because the music is just the music is everything, and like my reactions to so many things were just like, oh my gosh, like this is all coming together, and now I don't know how to feel about it, but it's really exciting. So
that's awesome. Thank you, ladies. Welcome everyone to What the Force, and welcome to a special celebration reaction of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And with me today to react to the trailer, who was literally holding my hand in the Twin Suns Overflow room for the trailer, is Natasha Fox.
Mm-hmm. Hi, it's Nat. Ashes for Foxes. I am still alive after that, and I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, like everyone was freaking out during it, and then they played it twice, which was amazing. And I wanted to talk a little bit about our experience in the room, which is probably a little bit different than what happened in the Wintrust. They got a little warm-up from Warwick Davis, which is amazing. But before the panel actually started, before we saw Stephen Colbert announced and come onto stage, we actually saw a little mini video. And it started out with this amazing cutscene from, I guess,
behind
practice.
the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes, like practice of the scene where we got to coordinate the jump to light speed. If you don't do that, you could bounce too close to a supermarket.
Yeah, that was Harrison Ford reading, practicing his line delivery, very tongue-in-cheek. And then they actually, finding out that somebody was actually recording it and being upset. It was great.
Yeah, and like Mark Hamill freaked out and was like, oh my God, this. And they were just all joking around. And then it cut to kind of talking about George and like what he had started, modern day fairy tale, Mark talking about it. Then it went to, talking about what Star Wars is, what it represents. And at some point, Kathleen had said, we just took everything that George had given us and we went through it all and we tried to make it happen, or there was something like that.
So in the video itself, there is old footage of George, I think prior to the prequels, where he explicitly is stating 9 movies.
Yeah.
There's 9 movies, and I consider each of them like a 3-act play.
Yeah.
And I think we all looked at each other and were like, and that was the moment I knew that validation was happening.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful. So yeah, Kathleen reiterated that on stage.
On stage, she actually said, this is a really unique thing. It's been 9 movies, this whole legacy, finishing out the whole saga, over 40 years. And then she said, and you can just go back to the video to watch this, we've had to not only try to make sense of finishing off the saga, but also to remember that it's been 40 years. And she used the term that I always use, like, sometimes things are of its age.
Yeah, she said we need to make sure it's of its time.
Of its time, yeah.
Which I felt really spoke to the idea that they are updating it and to be a more diverse and more universal story in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that was speaking directly to, I would say, us, as well as, people of color in the audience, people that maybe felt alienated by the previous stories. Or maybe didn't see themselves in them, that, there's a lot more to tell, and we're making it, for us.
It's inclusive.
It is,
everyone, and that was just so beautiful to see. And also it was so realized in the cast that they brought on.
Yeah.
They brought Kelly Marie Tran and Naomi Ackie, and they showed, a picture of Ray and Rose in a scene together.
Talking to each other.
And we have all about died because if anything, we've always wanted that, right? It's wonderful. I'm sorry, I'm just still reacting.
It's okay. No, and, we honestly were incoherent for the first little bit after the whole panel and the trailer being shown to us twice. And we took a step back, had some food.
Yeah, we needed to eat.
We had some protein and some carbohydrates. We had a chill, and now we're able to actually speak about it like rational women, even though we are not rational at this moment. We have lost our minds with how amazing the trailer was, and I imagine that there's several confused people out there.
Yeah.
At least several, at least a handful of, okay, what are they seeing? So we're going to talk about it a little bit, and we're going to talk about maybe some of the highlights of what we saw actually in the panel. What was your favorite thing about the panel?
Of the actual speaking?
Yeah.
I think it was really great to see how excited people were that Billy Dee came back.
Yeah.
And he obviously always felt a connection with Lando and was even trying to explain things.
Yeah. Like, Lando, he was always trying to do good. And, and I think that he's thought a lot about it over the past, 40 years, like how much the character was actually just trying to do right by people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he wasn't like a scoundrel. He was a bureaucrat in some ways.
He was a pragmatist.
Pragmatist, yeah. And my favorite part was seeing Kelly Marie Tran come on stage, and then just the overflow of emotion from the crowd.
She pretty much got a standing ovation, and like I started crying when she started crying. I think everybody in the audience started crying when she started crying, because it was so, like, we haven't seen anything from, like, any leaks or promotional material from her, and even just that one picture, just like, I was just so happy to see her, because like, oh god, I'm starting to cry again.
It's okay. And
this is
but it is that, right? Like, it's, we needed to see Rose, and we needed to see she was okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course there was just some really hilarious moments, because Stephen Colbert is very good at making jokes. He hosted and surprised us all by hosting.
They kept on talking about love, romance.
He ships it pretty hard. Daisy Ridley's questions were, so what's the deal with Rey and Kylo? And also,
what about Finn and Rey? Finn's like, no, I love all people. It's a pentagon of
Oscar
love.
Isaac was like, Poe is involved in that too. It's like a love quadrangle. Actually, he said love polygon.
A love polygon, yeah. and then it became a love.
I don't know. It was pretty funny. All the multi-shippers in the audience were having a field day with that one. I think.
Like Poe, Rose, Kylo. I don't know. Finn is open to everything, apparently.
Yeah, he's an eligible bachelor too.
An eligible bachelor.
According to John Boyega.
And the best part that literally Nat and I just like looked at each other over was like Stephen asked Daisy, oh, that scene where you have shirtless Kylo, and he made a joke about like how, hairless he was and wide he was, and are we going to get another scene like that? And she said there's no more scenes like that, or JJ said maybe, I don't know. One of them said that, and then we...
it was, I think... Oscar said we're actually going to do a naked Force spawn scene. We have to up the ante.
Yeah, up the ante, which is hilarious. And I don't think that we will
absolutely not
get any more nakedness actually in 9. I personally don't think we will.
No, I think we will get maybe some connection to the Force, but I don't think they're going to reuse that technique again.
Yeah, like the intimacy.
Yeah.
But then Steven said, well, he's really Daisy said, well, he is just so big.
Yeah.
And Steven was like, okay, let's talk about his lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. There was a dick joke in
there. There was literally that joke in that panel, which is hilarious. And I don't know if I honestly want to understand the mental gymnastics that I'm sure some people will go through to say that didn't happen.
Yeah.
It will be fascinating to watch this, almost like some sort of sport.
Yeah, it will be, because we have a few months of the wildest, lowest forms of speculation that will come out of this title reveal. And
don't worry, we know what it means. You know what it means. Every woman that I have spoken to since seeing the title and on all the group chats I'm on is losing their minds, crying, because it's so validating to see, this trailer, what it represents. I thought the new droid was really cute.
We got to see the new droid come out. They actually built it for Celebration to demonstrate it. It looked, and they showed the concept art, and they based it on
a duck,
like a baby duck,
little baby duck.
So it's gonna be following BB-8 around, making those cute little chirping noises it does. So Dio, the new droid is adorable.
I think they know that like droids are a way to connect with kids, and I would love to see Kylo treat droids more respectfully than others.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good play. So, do you want to talk about the trailer?
Yeah. Can we just at least mention some of the shots that we saw in the previews?
Oh, yeah.
Because what great was when they were talking to Daisy, they just showed stuff for her, but they also showed, of course, Kylo. And there were 2 main shots there that are starting to be examined. One of the first one, which I gasped audibly, was when he's basically sitting in what looks like the pilot seat of the TIE Silencer.
Yeah.
And he looks
wrecked, beat up.
His face is covered in blood or injuries or something, and you don't know if it's from him or for somebody else. But he's just
And then there was one during the video that the streamers didn't see.
Yeah,
and it was him, and it looked like his cape was back, and it looked like he was in Jordan.
Yeah,
I think we've decided. Yeah,
because you can tell from the background that it's in the desert because there's it's just really plain. But he's standing there and he looks just very calm and not like in attack mode like on Crate, because that shot is very much a callback to his presence on Crate when he's looking at Luke.
It's brand new though. We can definitely tell it's a different outfit and brand new look.
Going along with the trailer and what we've seen, the opening of that, we can speculate that happens in the same location or part of the movie.
As where they meet at the start of the trailer where she does the cool flip over the TIE Silencer.
My first thought was immediately like, I guess it sort of reminded me of like one of those scenarios in kind of an over-the-top movie where like exes are getting back together, but like one of them starts revving the engine, like running them down on the highway. But then after I watched it a few more times, I was like, wait a minute, no, that's not it. That's not what's happening at all.
She didn't look angry at all. Yeah. So we open on her breathing, and actually people thought that there was something wrong with the trailer because it opened on just her breathing and like a little it was like the beige, you could almost see it. And then the Lucasfilm, more breathing, and then her, and she's like in this desert scape. And then we hear Luke's overview of him talking to someone.
Thousands of generations now live in you. Now this is your fight now.
This is your fight now.
And it could be Rey. I mean, I think that was what everybody assumed, because a lot of time when you show a voiceover on a trailer, it's sort of misdirection.
Yeah,
at least
it is.
Like the Star Wars history of those.
Yeah.
So my assumption now is that it would be Ben, but it could be Rey, because he's obviously a Force ghost.
I think it could be both of them.
Possibly.
I think he's talking to both of them, maybe.
That would be neat if they were together.
Together,
and he was kind of
giving them the coaching. Yeah. Like, you two now have the weight of this legacy on your shoulders.
That would be good pottery, considering the last time he was physically kind of with them was when he was blowing up the hut. So
yeah, as a way to like bring them together rather than take them apart. Yeah, I think that would be really good. Yeah.
But that was so exciting to see that opening.
And then we see the silencer come in, and it's red and black.
It's been modified.
It's been modified. It's been changed.
I think a lot of that probably goes along with the whole idea that the Stormtrooper army now is red. Like there's this whole,
we're
like,
definitely
color.
getting those leaks out there. So, you know, spoiler if you weren't interested in that, but there's a red Stormtrooper army out there and white Stormtroopers, which is fascinating and could lead towards Stormtrooper rebellion ideas. Yeah.
Sort of like this splitting between what would be considered, quote unquote, the good Stormtroopers and the bad Stormtroopers, or at least that there might be some sort of military upheaval going on within the First Order. You know, my assumption always, I think, has been, and always, I think a lot of people have this assumption of talking to you, is that, you know, Kylo obviously will not be able to survive as Supreme Leader for very long and will be denounced in some way, or coup, or maybe, for me, I think because...
Assassination?
Yeah. That's my theory now. So one of the things that we noticed was there is a shot of his helmet being put back together, fused back together with the red, like we knew from some of the leaks. But the fact is the hands that are putting back together are not Kylo's. He's not doing this himself. So I would assume that probably was the Knights of Ren, or one of them, or just maybe some servant, whatever. But I also think that the only reason that they're putting that mask back together is because they're going to have a Padme handmaiden decoy moment.
I called them handmaids of Ren. Yeah, handmaidens of Ren, because they're, you know, we learned a lot from Queen Shadow that the decoy maneuver was actually quite important.
It was.
And that the sorority of these handmaidens was actually pretty fundamental to the role of the queen herself. And I think that would just be a really good way to throw a red herring out there a little bit.
I think so. It would be great to see an assassination attempt where you really think Kylo just ate it within like the first 20 minutes, and then you find out like he's actually like, you know, alive and well. Yeah, that would be a really good way to twist things up a little bit. It's like the opening of Attack of the Clones, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then and tying it back to that, and some people were pointing out that the title itself is very similar to Revenge of the Sith. Instead, the is changed places. And it's no longer about the Sith, it's about the Skywalker. Yeah.
I love the whole Revenge, Return, Rise.
Yeah.
And then also the Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, for the Rise of the Skywalker.
The Rise of the Skywalker. Yeah. The Rise of Skywalker.
Sorry, I'm still getting used to the title. It's
a little bit, I would say it's a little awkward to say.
It's awkward,
yeah. A little bit. But I think it'll join with, you know, Attack of the Clones I felt was very awkward to say at first.
But I think it's a great title. I think a lot of people are upset a little bit about like the whole inclusion of the family name in there. But the Skywalker saga deserves the Skywalker stamp on it, and I think and like we said, it reinforces the idea that this is a nine-part saga. About a family who was broken apart by, you know, this horrible act against them, and still is recovering from it. And we'll get more into that with like the ending of that trailer with Sheev laughing. That's pretty.
Well, and like I brought this up on an episode of What the Force previously, but I believe that the Skywalkers, like, they're really tying back to the larger canon. You know, very world between worlds from Rebels. In Thrawn Alliances, there's the concept of what a Skywalker is, and the Chiss have a Skywalker that helps them navigate hyperspace in the outer regions of space. And I very much think that skywalking, or being a Skywalker, means something more fundamentally. Like you're like an avatar of the Force, or like you are the Force in some ways. And
embodied into a human being.
Embodied into a human being. So in that way, I can't believe I'm going to say these words out loud. Rey could be a Skywalker. What I mean is that she is an embodiment of the Force.
Yeah, she is a Skywalker. I think we've always kind of talked about her taking on this sort of
The mantle of the chosen
Mantle
one.
of the chosen one, obviously, and taking the place and being adopted into this family immediately as soon as she shows up. You know, whether it be Han Solo offering her a job on his ship or Leia hugging her without ever really introducing herself.
Yep.
There's this whole element of the fact that she's found family.
Yeah.
And she's never, with them, she never has to want for anything because they love her, even though they will be gone, you know? And God, now I'm thinking about the hug that she has with Leia in this, where she's crying, and I'm like, why is she crying? And she's with her mom, you know, like.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a lot of theories out there about, you know, how does this all make sense together? And, you know, reverse Amidala, the idea that this is, you know, a very Star Wars It Rhymes, that the sequel trilogy is meant to fix the mistakes that were made by the galaxy in the prequel trilogy. So the keys to those would be, you know, the clones are redeemed. The legacy of the Jedi
are redeemed.
the legacy of the Jedi being the stormtroopers are redeemed by finding new purpose and finding the right side of the war.
Or just, and finding the right side of the war, but also changing the whole idea of what war should be about, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the things that they said early on in the panel was about the light side and the dark side, or the good and the bad, rising up to fight against evil.
Yeah.
So there was this whole, like, recontextualization within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, JJ said that. Yeah, he's like, the good and the bad fighting against the ultimate evil.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so fascinating.
It was great.
So what is the ultimate evil in this whole concept? Well, we know that the thing that is the ultimate evil is the thing that broke the Force.
Yeah.
And what broke the Force? It was Sheev Palpatine.
Yeah, manipulating Anakin to his fall.
Yeah.
And also,
but before that, it was before that the Force was broken, and the Jedi talk about it, and
because he was there for a long time. And we understand from other canon, especially with, like you said, the Aftermath trilogy, what else?
Aftermath trilogy by Chuck Wendig. We have a little bit more from
Sky Talkers brought up the Last Jedi novelization in their reaction panel, and the whole point of that is that we have very clear canon evidence that Palpatine had machinations within the unknown regions, which are connected to the Outer Rim, which is, of course, where we're going to be going in 9. And that there is something out there, or some sort of, or he found something there. That's why Snoke came from that location as well.
Yeah.
Like, he had plans, they were instigated, and now we're seeing the resolution of them, where perhaps we could, you know, come to the end of this galactic conflict in a way that makes sense, because both sides find out that there's something worse, or that they've been manipulated, or that, you know, this is not the right way to be. I think that the saga has to end on peace.
Yeah, I think it does. Good old star piece.
Star piece.
Yeah, star piece. Yeah, and we had a bit more from, you know, these just kind of group shots, and we got to see kind of Finn, Poe, Rey together,
looking really, really good. I mean,
all looking great.
Thighs were so thick. In those
pants.
Sorry, I didn't cut that.
I won't. And I don't know that we actually got to see all that much, really from a story perspective, other than we got to see a couple of new places, like a water planet with a broken Death Star. We got to see a snow planet with a city. We know that there's a forest planet.
Forest planet looked really beautiful. Rey is in the forest with a stick.
With
like,
a
literally,
stick.
it's just a stick.
And she's like, this is me with the stick.
Yeah.
That was great.
She was so cute.
Yeah.
But what was really fascinating was definitely seeing the Wadi Rum location where they were talking about the fact that that's where Lawrence of Arabia was shot. Anthony Daniels' wife called it a Macquarie painting.
Yeah, she's like, this reminds me exactly of the Macquarie painting, the concept art, and I know exactly what she's talking about. It's the one with the original C-3PO and R2-D2, the R2-D2 that looks like Chopper, and the C-3PO that looks like the Machinnon Mensch from Metropolis. And the background actually looks like those mountains.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
It's really great.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking about, like, the original concept art for when George Lucas had imagined that Luke Skywalker's original character was a girl. And you know, that like made me kind of think like, okay, yeah, I really do believe they've been planning this for a long time.
Yeah, I really do think that, you know, they're drawing on something, a thread, a tapestry.
Yeah.
There's some amount of George in this story,
Mhm.
and they're pulling on it, and
Yeah.
it's coming together really well because it's the right time to do it, I think, too, and it is the story that we're going to get. I do want to bring up a couple of ideas about speculation, but
Mhm.
first I wanted to talk about the music at the very end of the trailer
Oh, yeah,
when we
that's
got
the
to
most
see the
important part.
blue.
Yeah.
The blue Star Wars with the rise of Skywalker. As we start to see the blue and the title appear, Frank Lehman actually posted this, but I knew right away as soon as I heard it, and I could actually hear it with headphones. That is a major version of Kylo's power theme, or his bravado theme, as I call it, and it's triumphant. Then Frank points out that there's a bit of Dies Irae, which is the na 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 na.
It's the uncanny sounding
death
theme.
knell,
Yeah.
in some ways, and it
reused throughout history.
And it's actually part of the Emperor's theme.
Yeah.
So, and then we start to hear the laughter.
Yeah. That blew me away. I thought for a second that it was just somebody on the stage, and then the lights came on, and it actually was Ian McDiarmid.
But it wasn't him. He was him laughing in the trailer.
Yeah,
too,
but he
and-
was just standing there, and I was like, okay. And then he said, cue it again, and then the laughter came again, and I was like, okay, he couldn't duplicate it. It actually is in the trailer.
It is actually him. And then at the very end, we get the Ewoks, like a representative version of the Ewoks theme.
That just blew my mind, because that just speaks to the fact that this is Death Star 2.
It is Death Star 2,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Death Star 2, and I think that opens up the possibility of dark side artifacts,
Yes.
which we have seen a lot of.
Yes.
Do not, like, if you're not reading larger canon to understand that, that's okay. I don't think that you need to see that. I think it'll be really cool when you come into
I mean,
in
so
theaters.
to list some like examples for you, Aftermath has, of course, the Acolytes of the Beyond looking for relics of the past. Somebody in the Sky Talkers panel brought up the Lando comics, which I read, which are great. The Lando comics are great because Palpatine's ship has a collection of artifacts, and
he's always been looking for artifacts.
And
We
he's
know that
always
from
been-
Rebels,
Yep.
especially. He gives Vader a helmet.
Yes.
Which is possessed by a dark lord.
The new,
Sith
that was the
in
conclusion of the recent Vader comics,
Yes.
which was amazing.
a 2017 run, and that was such a good run, and it talked about in a path of reincarnation or
Exactly.
a path of coming back.
Yes.
That you can potentially live again in the Force.
Mhm.
Like there is no one's ever truly gone.
Yeah, no, never true. And that's the whole point. Is like the Force is figuring things out. I think is the way to put it. Like it is demanding of its users that they do something, but not in a forceful way. It's just letting them utilizing the Force comes from just knowing what the path is and following it. Like a lot of that with Obi-Wan and the Revenge of the Sith novelization. Being one with the Force is allowing it to move you and to guide you. And when you fight against it and its natural conclusions, that's when you get trauma and pain. And that's what happened with Anakin.
Anakin and Kylo. Yeah.
And the only way that this path resolves is if Kylo doesn't follow down Vader's path of complete self-annihilation and regret over losing the person that he loved.
There's definitely a lot of confused people because they're going to say, well, Kylo, isn't he the bad guy?
Yeah.
And
doesn't he hate Rey?
He didn't come off that way at all. At all. And I think that's really, really, really fascinating. I think the things that are on the table, we might see Anakin come back as a Force ghost.
Yes.
I think it is definitely a possibility.
With Palpatine included, I absolutely believe it.
And we might, yeah.
I just really hope we get Padme content in some way. Like,
yeah.
Whether it's a mention or it's just if it's just him, like, living through these regrets that they've been... Like, Vader now in comics and book canon is just such a lost man, just obsessed with his...
But that's been from
the get-go.
Lords of the Sith.
That's true.
Been from Lords of the Sith, him almost avoiding the thoughts that he had, and we get that very much in Vader 2015 too.
Yes. I mean, it's part of his characterization, and it has been written like that. But I think that it's starting to become so much more obvious and more reiterated to the point that it's almost comical, right?
Yeah, like it's like they're beating us over the heads almost now,
Yeah.
and like I'm really happy with the trailer, and I did want to comment on the blue because I really thought it was blue, but now that we've seen it again in the trailer,
It's indigo.
It's indigo.
It's sort of like a more purple.
It's a purplish blue, which
we stole the trailer.
Yeah, like Reylo colors are the red and the blue together, and that is purple.
Yeah.
And it's just like the colors are there.
Yes.
The redemptive in the color schemes.
In the title itself, The Rise of Skywalker, you know, even if it could mean something more generalized and outside of the family, which I agree with you on, because I really believe that.
I think it's going to become a wider term.
It's a wider term because everything has double meaning within this franchise. Everything
has more than one meaning and is layered, and you got to dig to find the layers.
Yeah.
I did want to talk a little bit about the cinematography and the overall
that was really
color.
my favorite part of it.
Yeah, because we saw in The Force Awakens, JJ had a very JJ-esque palette. It was very orange and teal, which is a common it's almost a visual trope now.
It is. And he had done so much of that in Star Trek that it was almost like too visually similar for me.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I love The Force Awakens, but I don't watch a lot of it very often.
Yeah.
I kind of just start half of it.
The Last Jedi has a very different color theory style.
Beautiful. Yeah. And actually so well developed because Ryan's posse of creators that he works with specifically know what they're doing to the point of like, he just has a visual style that is so much more symbolic to me. Mm-hmm. He's practiced.
And you pointed out that this trailer for TRO...
We're going to call it TROS now.
TROS.
Yeah.
TROS.
It's TROS now.
TROS now. You pointed out about the visual style.
Yeah, so I had noticed, and I kind of freaked out about it, was the fact that, like, usually the cinematography for his films, like I said, is like you said, is much more stark and much more contrasty, especially with color. Like think about like the way that Starkiller Base was lit, and think about like that versus what we have now, where you have this kind of softer, more diffused light. Everything seems more muted and a little bit more like glowy. You know, it seems even just the environmental shots with like the shot of the Death Star in the water is just showing that there's this sort of like almost Rian Johnson-esque.
Yeah, like he definitely visually at least homaged. It was a little, I would say it was kind of between the two, but
it's continuity. It's nice because it's like merging those two kind of ways of looking at things. But even the shots of like the marketplace in the desert or everything kind of has that feel to it. And it for me, it draws back more to the original trilogy because when you look at something like Return of the Jedi, there is kind of a grittiness and a realness to it.
Yeah. And like, look, this is important. This is the end.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm very much looking forward to seeing more come out. I'm planning on attending the Galaxy's Edge panel tomorrow because really anything coming out now will tie into 9. With the exception, I would say, of maybe The Mandalorian. It might be opening up the world to a new place.
Yeah, I'm excited after you said that because I've sort of kind of like didn't really think of The Mandalorian as being too important, too special beyond the fact that they had such a cool, retinue of directors that are coming on. We have Bryce Dallas Howard, Taika Waititi, all these people that have different perspectives and different styles.
Yeah.
So showing that you can be more of like, when we talk about like anthology series like Legends of Luke Skywalker and things like that, you have like, the masked figure that's walking into these different stories, and it could be any number of stories. It could be a comedy, it could be a drama.
Yeah.
That is the essence of like what I felt was good television growing up, was you had one central main character that was able to experience some of these like, maybe it's a Monster of the Week story, but you're still getting the element of that person's interacting with the world and learning more about it, and you are learning more about it through them.
I think there will still be some sort of important storyline for it. One thing I've learned about Lucas is that they do not tell a story without knowing what the meaning of that story is to the larger canon and to the larger story that they are telling, which is one story, which is Star Wars.
Yeah, it's important, absolutely, that they like continue on not only just the mythos, that the world that they've created, but also the main central themes.
Yeah.
Because they understand that those are the things that live on in perpetuity. Like children watching this now will grow up with it and actually feel still an emotional resonance with the content because of the fact that they touch on these archetypal ways of examining humanity and our stories.
Exactly. And that's what we're getting is more of this.
More.
Which is amazing and rejuvenating. And we've already seen friends of ours start writing metas and talking about it and the discourse. And I think that was what was missing, was just the ability to see something and then have a conversation about it. And
we had a very dry period because of the fact that like the leaks on this one were very not existent.
Yeah.
We only got some merchandising stuff and
but I think
some stuff. But
I mean, I know some people are like, oh, I need the leaks to enjoy things. But I think that it is important to keep this one under wraps because they want to be able to tell the story the way it's meant to be told.
I think it's kind of almost sacred at this point.
Yeah, it is a sacred story because it's a reflection of humanity's sacred stories in a Joseph Campbellian kind of way.
Because think of like the initial surprise and reaction you got to watching Return of the Jedi for the first time when Luke lays down his saber and says, I will not kill my father.
Yeah.
And how that, like, every time you watch it, you still feel the same spike of joy and happiness and empathy for that idea that compassion exists within us, as that is our humanity and defines us and makes us better people. And so when we are able to see that illustrated again in this movie, because it will happen again, I want people to have that same feeling. Like, I don't want to spoil anybody on it, because even though I personally like have followed this stuff and want to know and like have a really strong theory about everything, I still think it's important for people to experience it without really knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah. And we theorize and we try to understand what it's telling us, because that's part of the joy. It's the puzzle solving, you know? So a friend of mine actually said that the word on the street is that the theme music that's at the end for Kylo is Ben's redemption theme, which is just glorious, right?
Yes.
It's his fully realized theme, and I literally spoke to Frank Lehman about this like 2 weeks ago, which was amazing.
The leitmotif. Like, it's amazing that the fact that we get spoilers from music, just like like Qui-Gon dying.
Like Qui-Gon's noble end. But it's actually like just more, hey, what is the music telling us? What is the story telling us? What is the costuming telling us? It's all storytelling.
Yeah.
And if you ignore aspects of it, then you're ignoring kind of a piece of the story.
Well, you're also not looking at it like it's a space opera, right? Like that's the whole point of the fact that the music makes it so much more important and special and has this whole amazing, deep, rich symbolism and thought and production into it, is because it is an opera. And John Williams' last Star Wars movie score.
His 9th symphony for Star Wars, and we love him for it. It sounded, I don't know if this is directly from him. If he composed this one, we'll probably find out later, but it was really good.
Yeah,
really good music. We got and Frank Lehman went on to this online. He was very quick. He was very quick. We got a little bit of Luke and Leia, somebody pointed out, but we got Rey's theme mixed with the Force theme. We had Han Solo and the Princess.
Han Solo and the Princess being right after that whole initial scene got me so hard. Because not only was it not really shown over it wasn't really shown over Rey and Leia.
No.
It was shown right before Ben Solo Kylo Ren shows up. Lightsaber.
Yeah, like this is Han and Leia's kid. FYI, guys. Yeah. So there's going to be lots to dig into, I know, over the next little while. I know everyone's going to analyze this trailer. I think we did a really great job of, talking about it, especially what was important to us.
Yeah, but I'm also just like really happy in it. Like, especially for like the fact that the people collaborate on unpacking this as well as they can. That is the joy of fandom for me and has been since TFA. So like now that we get to experience it again, and even if it like after the movie, being able to continue to like say, okay, we examine these themes, but how can we go a little deeper?
What does this all mean? And I think this might be controversial to say, but I think that they're going to put in stuff that's going to lean to what's going to be told next.
Yes.
What's important next after this?
Yes.
Right? What are the themes that are going to be important? Because there's more themes of humanity. This was primarily about, George would always say, the themes of Star Wars are about the complications between fathers and sons.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder if Sheev is Anakin's progenitor.
Yes. It would be really nice to see more about mothers and daughters and
Yeah.
what's going to happen there. I really honestly feel like while this is the end of the Skywalker saga, it is only just the beginning for what we define as this world, like whether it
Yeah.
is in a world without war but with peace, in a world with Force users that are not Skywalkers, with these two Force users who have overcome so much in their lives and grown up so fast and in such like blatantly interesting ways where they can they become the mentors for the next generation, even if it's just adopting all of the little broom boys and
girls
Yes.
out there. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I love that I got to experience it with you.
Yeah, thank
Nat.
you. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was really, really great to go. I mean, I didn't think I was going to be able to hack it without getting into hysterics, but we managed.
Yeah.
We just screamed a lot.
Yeah. Screamed, clapped.
Yeah.
My face hurts from smiling.
Yeah.
My hands hurt from clapping.
Yeah.
And I really hope you guys all loved it too.
Yeah, same. I hope everybody watches this over and over again with us and adds more to the conversation with... I just want to, everybody to Photoshop and analyze every single step.
Yeah, please
do
your in-depth analysis and we will join in the conversation.
Yes, we will.
Cheers.